Today we're going to be taking a look at what I think are the top 10 LEGO Star Wars sets from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Last week I ranked the top 10 LEGO Star Wars sets from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and now moving forward chronologically we are on to The Empire Strikes Back. Before we get into it, I do have to say that I did not include UCS sets in this list. I know I included UCS sets when I ranked the top 10 sets from the prequel movies, however with the original trilogy there are just so many different UCS sets from these movies that if I actually included them in this list it would just be completely unfair because there'd just be way too many in the top 10. But without further ado, hopping right into it with some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention I have, or you could say the 13th spot, is 7666 Hoth Rebel Base from 2007. Now if you look at this set strictly for playability, it's a great set, and I do really like the opening doors on the Hoth Echo base along with the amount of minifigures it includes. However, with these multiple Hoth Echo base or Battle of Hoth sets, I've always found that there's just so many side builds that they're kind of just hard to keep up with, and if you're a kid and you play with them, they're easy to lose, and if you display your sets, they're just not very easy to display. Although I will say I do think this is the best version of the Hoth Echo base as a playset, just because of those sliding doors. I think they're really cool. However, it still can get pretty messy with these side builds, so that is why I left it in the honorable mentions, but depending on how you look at it, it still is a good set. It's just I personally don't prefer these that much. On to the next honorable mention, or the 12th spot, I have 75049 Snowspeeder from 2014. Now the standalone Snowspeeders are some of my favorite Star Wars sets that LEGO has ever made, and I really have no specific reasons why I left this set in the honorable mentions other than that there's just so many other sets from this movie that are better than it. However, this is still just a really good set. It was a perfect Snowspeeder for 2014 and had a solid minifigure lineup. However, 5 years later in 2019, another Snowspeeder came out that I think is a little bit better, and that is what comes in as the last honorable mention, or the number 11 spot, which is 7259 Snowspeeder 20th Anniversary Edition. I think this Snowspeeder really just went one step further in accuracy and just looking more modern, and I think it's very safe to say that this is the best Snowspeeder LEGO has made, and I also think the minifigure lineup is just a little bit better than the one that I just mentioned from 2014, and obviously the reason that is because it does include the 20th anniversary Lando figure, so really him and just the build being a little bit better and more accurate is why I put it at the number 11 spot. However, as good as this Snowspeeder is and as good as the last Snowspeeder was, sadly I had to leave them in the honorable mentions because there are just too many other sets from The Empire Strikes Back that are better. Now moving into the official top 10, at the number 10 spot I have 75294 Bespin Duel. This set was released on August 1st of 2020 and retired in December of the same year, having a lifespan of only about 5 months, which is very rare for a LEGO Star Wars set as they usually have a lifespan of about 2 years. It has 295 pieces and had an original retail price of $40 US. However, if you want this set new sealed in the box today, it is already going for around $140 to $160. Now honestly, this is just such a perfect set for anyone that is a huge fan of The Empire Strikes Back, as it's basically a 1-to-1 scale of the famous scene and it captures it absolutely perfectly. It's small but very effective and an amazing display piece, and also the Luke Skywalker and the Darth Vader that come in this set are very nice minifigures that are definitely up to par with the 18+ theme of this set, and that is why I did not hesitate to give it a spot in the top 10. Moving on to the number 9 spot, it might be a little bit controversial that I put this set so low on the list. However, I have 8129 AT-AT Walker. This set was released on August 1st of 2010 and retired in December of 2011. It has 815 pieces and had an original retail price of $110, and if you want this set new sealed in the box today, it is going for around $250 to $300. Now don't get me wrong, this is definitely a very iconic AT-AT, and it was a lot of people's first AT-AT as well, as before this we had not gotten an AT-AT in LEGO form since 2003, so it was really nice that LEGO finally remade one 7 years later in 2010, and it kind of gained a cult following since then. However, besides the 2003 version, I do have to say out of the 4 playscale AT-ATs LEGO's made, this one is probably the weakest, and the only reason I'd say it's better than the 2003 version is just because it looks more accurate on the outside. However, it is the smallest out of the 4 and it is the most fragile as well. The panels on the side do fall off pretty easily and the interior is not as big as the interior on the other ones. However, after all, it is still an AT-AT and it still does look really cool, and they're always fun to play with no matter if it's the worst or the best one, and that is why I put it at the number 9 spot. On to the number 8 spot, I have 6209 Slave 1. This set was released in January of 2006 and retired in July of 2007. It has 537 pieces and had an original retail price of only $50. However, if you want this set new sealed in the box today, it is going for around $400 to $500. Now for 2006, this was an absolutely incredible set, and it was definitely a very significant upgrade from the very first Episode 5 Slave 1 that came out in 1999. LEGO just absolutely blew it out of the water in terms of advancing. However, no matter how good it was for 2006, it is now 2023, and its age does show a little bit. I do have to say, I think they used too many gray pieces on this. There is not enough green and brown throughout the ship, which just makes it not as accurate as the slave ones that came after this. However, for 2006, I think this was an amazing set, and it still is a very good set today, and it also is very iconic, and that is why I put it at the number 8 spot. Moving on to the number 7 spot, I have 4504 Millennium Falcon. This set was released in June of 2004 and retired in December of 2005. It has 985 pieces and had an original retail price of $100 US. However, if you want this set new, sealed in the box today, it is going for around $400 to $450. And in my opinion, I think this is by far the most underrated set on this list and the most underrated version of the Millennium Falcon that LEGO has made. It is the only playscale version they have made that is based strictly on episode 5, specifically Hoth, and I think they just absolutely blew it out of the water here, especially if you compare it to the first Millennium Falcon that came out only 4 years prior, from the first iteration that came out in 2000 to this iteration that came out in 2004. To me, it is just very impressive how they advanced so fast. And not to mention, the set is also very accurate, as the top of it is relatively flat compared to the newer playscale Millennium Falcon, specifically the 2011 version, where the panels on the top sort of slope upwards to the middle, causing it to look a little bit thicker and not really flat like it's supposed to look. However, this one doesn't really have that problem. The whole top is relatively flat, and I think it looks very good, especially for 2004, and I think without a doubt this set deserved a spot on this list. And now coming in at the number 6 spot, I have 10178 Motorized Walking AT-AT. This set was released in October of 2007 and retired in December of 2010. It has 1,137 pieces and had an original retail price of $130. However, if you want this set new, sealed in the box today, it is going for around $500 to $600. Now, this is a very iconic and legendary set, and if you don't know why, well, there is a motor inside of it that actually allows the AT-AT to walk. This basically is the only time LEGO has made a motorized Star Wars set, and I think it's just the coolest thing ever, and that's why I put it at the number 6 spot. On the outside, it might not look as good as some of the other AT-ATs, but the motorized walking function just definitely makes up for that. I think this is by far one of the best play features to ever be included in a LEGO Star Wars set, and that is why I put it at the number 6 spot. And now moving on to the number 5 spot, I have a set that some of you might be a little bit surprised to see on this list, but it's 75306 Imperial Probe Droid. This set was released in April of 2021 and retired in December of 2022. It has 683 pieces and had an original retail price of $60 US, and since it just retired last year, it's only going for around $60 to $90 in 2023. Now, this is another set on this list that I think is very underrated. Out of all these smaller 18 plus display sets, I think this one is by far the best. I think LEGO could not have done a better job on the model, and it just looks incredible on display. And I also really like how there's some snowy terrain underneath it, along with the display plaque having some white pieces on it to kind of make it look like it's been frozen over. I think that's just a really unique idea, and it makes this set look even better on display. And despite it not being very popular, I definitely think this set deserves the number 5 spot. And now coming in at the number 4 spot, I have 8097 Slave 1. This set was released in June of 2010 and retired in December of 2011. It has 573 pieces and had an original retail price of $80 US. However, if you want this set new, sealed in the box today, it is now going for around $250 to $300. Now, in my opinion, this is the best playscale version of the Slave 1 that LEGO has made, and really it's about the same size as the 2006 version that I talked about earlier, and LEGO really just took everything from that version and made it better and more accurate and more modern. And they also added Bossk into the set, which just makes it better because Bossk is cool. So all those reasons is why I think this is the best playscale Slave 1 and why I think it deserves the number 4 spot. Moving on to the number 3 spot, I have 75222 Betrayal on Cloud City. This set was released on October 1st of 2018 and retired in December of 2019. It has 2,812 pieces and had an original retail price of $350. However, if you want this set new, sealed in the box today, it is going for around $900 to $1,000. Now, honestly, up until I made this list, I've never really liked this set that much, just because I thought it didn't really work as an 18 plus display set, just because there's so much going on, because they put every scene from Cloud City into one set. However, when I actually took an in-depth look at it for this video, I realized that they actually captured every scene as well as made the whole build look really good. It's not just super cluttered like most playset building sets are. It actually looks good on display, and it has every iconic scene, and that is why I put it at the number 3 spot. Now, moving on to the number 2 spot, I have 75054 AT-AT. This set was released in June of 2014 and retired in December of 2015. It has 1,137 pieces and had an original retail price of $110 US. However, if you want this set new, sealed in the box today, it is now going for around $150 to $200, which, if you ask me, is actually a pretty good deal if you want this set new today. Now, this set was a significant upgrade from the 2010 version in every way. From the size and accuracy to the overall look, LEGO really just did an amazing job with this one, and the minifigure lineup is really good as well. However, the only slight problem I have with this set is that the center body part is a little bit too short, making it look kind of scrunched up, but it's not super noticeable unless you're looking at it directly from the side. Other than that, this set is near perfect, and that's why I gave it the number 2 spot. However, 6 years later in 2020, LEGO made an even more improved AT-AT. Everyone thought the 2014 version was the best that LEGO could do. However, in 2020, they made another one and just absolutely blew it out of the water, and that is what comes in at the number 1 spot. 75288 AT-AT was released in August of 2020 and is set to retire in December of this year, 2023. It has 1,267 pieces and has a current retail price of $170 US. Now, the price tag is definitely a stretch. I think this set should have been about $150. However, excluding that, the build is just absolutely incredible. The proportions on it really do look 100% accurate to the AT-ATs in episode 5, and LEGO also got the head shape down to a T. They could not have made it any better. This really is an incredible set, and in my opinion, besides the UCS sets, this is the best LEGO Star Wars set from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you think about this list down in the comments below, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now.